You are listening to a podcast by the Little School of Happiness. My name is Sandra Hayes and I'm your host. Here you will find episodes on all the Vedic teachings like yoga, Ayurveda and Vedic astrology. For more information about me and my offerings, please go to sandrahayes.eu, or if you're in Germany, sandrahayes.de. Hi again, it's me again talking to you about the nakshatras. So if you don't know what nakshatras are, please do go back to the previous episode. I'll explain everything about these lunar mansions and the story behind it. I was talking about Ashwini Nakshatra yesterday, so today is the second nakshatra, Bharani Nakshatra. Bharani is the womb of endurance. It's a very wonderful and interesting nakshatra because when the moon moves into Bharani, the energy really shifts from that, raw new spark of Ashwini into something much deeper and denser, and it goes inward. It's a little bit, I imagine it as if in Ashwini, in Bharani, because what Bharani means actually is the sacred container. The word Bharani means something to bear or to carry or to support or sustain, or also to nourish and hold within. So Bharani literally means she who bears or who carries, or also the container or bearer of life, and that is the womb. And the symbol of this nakshatra is the yoni. And the yoni, in that sense, it doesn't just mean vagina, even though it might look like, the symbol might look like a vagina, but it means the womb, the whole womb. And it stands for the vessel that holds life before it's born. And it's the capacity to carry life, to carry karmic weight and emotions. And it is the place between life and death. So it's a threshold where transformation happens. It holds a lot of tension and a lot of potential. And also it can endure quite a lot of discomfort as well for its eventual emergence into the world. And it's a container for divine energy. And also, when something is going to be born when it's ready, when it's mature. So it also speaks about the ability to surrender to divine timing. And so Bharani is, it's not just about giving birth to something, but also about holding something that is not quite ready to emerge and enduring it. Also enduring what can't quite yet be resolved, and becoming strong enough to carry something through some kind of an initiation. And this is interesting to me as well, because for one, the previous one, Ashwini, was ruled by Ketu, and Ketu is very subtle. It's not attached, so it's really bringing an energy from a previous life, karmic energy that isn't really there. It's not, you can't grasp it. You can't grasp anything that Ketu brings. But this is Venus. Venus is birth. Venus is, something is baking in the oven, in the womb, and it's about to be born. So this is where it's formed. This is where it's forged, because there is quite a lot of pressure in the womb as well. And interestingly, the deity for this nakshatra is the god of death, Yama. So Bharani is not always an easy place because, it is ruled by Yama, the god of death, and dharma as well. There's actually a beautiful story about Yama as well, because in the Vedic tradition, Yama is not like in the Western sense. In the Western sense, if we have anything to compare to the god of death, is this, hooded dark man with a scythe or something like that. But it's not that we are all afraid of, and that brings us to somewhere, some awful place. But this is not what Yama is about. The story of Yama is yet again, tied to the story of Surya, the sun, and Sanjana, his wife, and also to Saturn or Shani, because they are brothers. Yama is a brother of Saturn or Shani. Yama and his twin sister were born from Surya and Sanjana. So born from the sun and the cloud. And they were, in heaven and, growing up as little gods and playing beautifully. And there was this divine river they used to play at. And Yama, though, always had this ability to sense something that the other gods couldn't sense, or see something that they couldn't see. And that is the limitations. He could see beyond rivers. He could see there is something beyond that river, beyond the life that he knew. And so he decided to go beyond the river and experience mortality. And that was considered very brave of him. But he knew that it's necessary to do so, because there is only meaning in light when there is darkness, and there is only meaning in life when there is death. And that it is important also to renew life, to, become new again, to shed old layers and, transform into something new. And this is the one side of Bharani is, he was really the first to go into death, go into the limits and experience those limits, because they are, they give us a sense of being, and they are important. And also the yoni, the symbol for this nakshatra, or the womb, that is our limit. It's holding life. It's a container. And the womb is an amazing organ as well. It can stretch from the size of a pear to the size of a watermelon, sometimes even 500 times its size. So there is an incredible ability to expand in the womb, and also in Bharani Nakshatra. So wherever, if you have in your chart, you have your moon or another important planet in Bharani Nakshatra, then you will expand, and you can be sure that something will transform and be born at some stage in your life. But it has to incubate first. The yoni doesn't only birth, it contains. So it has to be endured first. The Bharani is the one who carries things, who waits also through discomfort sometimes, and uncertainty sometimes, and transformation. And in comparison to the previous nakshatra, to Ashwini, which was all about speed, this is not about speed. This is about thresholds, about transformation. So it's birth and death and the in-between. And birth and death are very, very similar. One leads to the other. If we imagine when we are born, at first we might, float unassumingly in this beautiful space, and we are carried, and we just trust that everything is fine, and we dream, and we are nourished. We don't have to worry about anything. We're simply in the moment. But over time, space becomes small, and space becomes our limitations. We feel the limitations more and more, and there's more and more pressure on us. And then at some stage we are squeezed out through this long dark tunnel, and it's painful, and at the end of the tunnel there's the light, and then we are going into the light, and that's our birth. And in death, often what people report is the same thing, that we are going through a long dark tunnel and toward the light. The only thing that's different, is that when we're born, then we come into the world crying, and the other people around us are all smiling and being joyful. And when we're dying, then it's the other people who are crying, and we might be joyful. So that might be a difference. But this is what Bharani is all about. So birth, death, and the spaces in between, the space where endings and beginnings might blur. And this is the case also with people with strong Bharani placements. They often experience extremes as well. So there could be losses, there could be, things that initiate deep transformation. And they might also feel like they live close to the veil, where death and birth are realities for whatever reason. So, endurance and inner strength is something that Bharani people have. I actually happen to have a very strong Bharani Nakshatra with my sun in Bharani. And I happen to have, while I was in Mercury Sun Dasha, Mercury is my Atmakaraka, and while I was in my Mercury Sun Dasha, and my sun is in Bharani, I had a motorbike accident with a near-death experience that caused huge transformations in my life. A complete new direction in my whole life happened after that. So this is not to say that everyone with a strong Bharani will have to have near-death experiences, but this is just one example of what could happen with Bharani Nakshatra. But Bharani is not just about the endurance either. It's not about suppression as well. It's about the process of becoming, because this is the time in the womb we are being nourished, and Bharani gives that energy of, yes, it's a long inner journey and there might be pressures, but this is only for something to be born, for something to manifest in the external world. So, these are people who, they don't always speak about what they're going through, but they carry quite some depths in them. So, Bharani also has a lot to do with dharma, because Yama, as the deity, brings dharma. Yama is the god of dharma, so it's the god of natural laws, and natural laws can be twofold. It can be the natural law that we all have to follow. So it's a natural law that when I don't drink water for a certain amount of time, I will die of thirst. This is just a natural law that I have to follow. If I want to live as a human being here, then I have to drink water. And a natural law is also that I have to follow my own inner natural laws. So who am I? What are my values? Am I living in alignment with my values? Am I living in alignment with my true inner calling, my path? And this is also belongs to the realm of Bharani, because it holds a really strong sense of karmic maturity. And also, because it is the yoni symbol, it's about femininity. It's about feminine power and feminine energy and the divine feminine. Because, and the yoni, it's not just about sexuality or reproduction either. It's a portal through which the spirit comes into the world. So it's a portal as well that manifests things from the spirit realm into the outer world. So also it has to do with the power of creativity. It has to do with sacred containers and boundaries, and learning how to deal with boundaries and how to have boundaries as well. So that can also be a theme of Bharani Nakshatra. And also there's a lot of energy in trusting the rhythms of nature. We know that from Ayurveda, how important it is to be aligned with nature and with the cycles of nature, and to trust divine timing, because like any birth, it happens in its own time. It happens when things are ready and when things are mature. And this is the big task that Bharani is giving us as well, to trust divine timing. So Bharani energy often comes with these, big things, the birth of something, whether it's a child or whether it's something else. But it has to do with creation and birthing things, and sometimes also death and rebirth. And people with planets here, they might be called also to guide others through transitions. That's another way to look at it. So you could be, called to be a midwife even, or a spiritual midwife, or a healer of some sort, or a guide of some sort, spiritual guide of some sort, or coach, or a therapist, or, whatever it is that helps something else being born in other people, or that helps other people find their own divine feminine power. So this is Bharani Nakshatra, and we can work with that energy by practicing that trust in the divine timing, and by practicing to be the womb, not the warrior. So instead of pushing or striving to get something right now, Bharani is asking us to hold it first, to let things gestate, to feel it. And even if it's uncomfortable, there is a very important stage in any creative process, and that's the incubation stage. And we often ignore that too much, I think, because we're brought up, many of us are brought up to want things now and to want results now, fast, quick results. But Bharani is teaching us to take the time to let something incubate, sit back and relax, and it will, form unconsciously. There is something working in your unconscious mind, and it's important work, and let it just happen. So there's also, we can also work directly with our womb energy. So we can just sometimes put our hands over our womb space and breathe into it, just to be in the space, to feel that energy. And what I like to do often actually is to give my womb a massage. I really do that quite often, actually. I do that almost every night, because I have my Ayurvedic oil beside my bed, and sometimes I just like to have a little bit of a gentle womb massage in the evening, or foot massage sometimes. But the womb carries all that energy in our physical body as well. And to connect with that is also to connect with Bharani Nakshatra. And also boundaries, accepting boundaries, and letting Bharani teach us to understand our own limitations and to know when enough is enough and when we need to sometimes say no. And this is something we can ask ourselves as well. What boundary would help me protect myself or protect what is sacred in me? And also, Bharani, because of the deity of Yama, it's a very powerful time when, for example, the moon is in Bharani, to honor endings. So we could, I like to use writing a lot, so we could write down everything that we want to release and just sit with it and breathe with it and stay with it. And then maybe if you want to burn the note, burn it and offer it to the ground. And also because Yama is the god of dharma as well. And it's nothing to do with dogma, but about inner law. So we can ask ourselves, where am I out of alignment with my own inner, deeper truth? And what would it feel like if I took full responsibility for my own choices? And also, by the way, it's nothing to do with whether or not you still have your physical womb, because I happen to know quite a lot of women lately. Since I live in Germany, I've met quite a lot of women who have their uterus removed for one or another reason. And even if you don't have your womb anymore, but you still have an energetic womb, so a place in the body and in your psyche as well, where the creative energy is coming from and where you can create and hold and transform from. So we can have creative practices that connect us to the womb space, to the sacral chakra, like, painting or voice work or poetry or whatever it is that you might like to do creatively. And then, very important, Bharani doesn't like to rush. It works on divine timing. Trusting that timing is really important. So we can ask ourselves, what am I holding? What is being born through me right now as the moon moves through Bharani Nakshatra? And what must I allow maybe to be let go or to die so that something new can come? And every birth takes time. But also, Bharani gives us the strength, strong enough. We're all strong enough to carry it. And this is the beauty of Bharani. All right, thank you so much for listening. And I hope this was valuable to you. You can look at my website, sandrahayes.eu, for any offerings I have at the moment, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Thanks, and bye for now. You were listening to a podcast by the Little School of Happiness. For more information, please go to sandrahayes.eu, or if you are in Germany, sandrahayes.de.